Yep, my name's Zach Moll. Thank you for the very warm welcome. Glad to be here. Glad I could make it. We'll start off with one called For Those in the Rough. It's kind of an outline on desperation. While the hours bang away on kettles and church bells and the mice make for the crumbs in the corner, while he promises and she believes and the dice clank down once more, while the world turns, the frost bites, a painting fades in Rome, while manicured hands join over Mai Tais on the green and 1,000 others fall idle on the coattails of a dream, while 100,000 classifieds open with a sigh and scissors cut crisply into Sunday's coupons, while industry sleeps and crickets flood the factories, a shot is heard and someone in this town has been paid. Waiting with both hands. Somewhere, the voice long waited on breathes. In the womb, on the street, at a dead-end job with a mortgage, selling pills, turning tricks, writing songs, weeping. Somewhere the sway of the leaves reminds him what's expected, while the trunk leading down reminds him what's needed. And everywhere we wait. In the womb, on the street, sweating with that mortgage, selling pills, stealing cars, pouring coffee, weeping. Somewhere he sighs, returning to his duties, signing a lease, looking away, waiting with the rest of us. Got one here. Midnight Suspicions. Suppose the grapes when squeezed made gravy and pelicans were merchants of the sea. Suppose the weather never started small talk and Her Majesty ate only mice. Suppose HIV were a vitamin and the sky were lined with veins. Suppose gravity didn't give a shit. Suppose eggs came from groundhogs and tulips fell with the storm. Suppose Mormons died on embryos and seductive France laid Spain. Suppose the day made time for you and sun rose with your head. Suppose Nirvana locked the door. Suppose Nietzsche were a priest and Marie Antoinette were promoting a bakery. Suppose our biggest export were couch potatoes and passion came with kids' meals. Suppose Pavlov's dog walked upright and volunteered for consumer surveys. Suppose my 2 cents could foot the bill. Actually, I think I'm going to try a short story that I just wrote.
Cool.
It's just 1 page long, so hopefully we don't all fall into the ADD zone. I know, so forgive me. It's called Home Against the Wood Grain. Without a care for the common cold, this wiry protagonist made his way to Betty's for an evening with some tail on its end. "Mickey, you old shithead, over here." Ah, his loving din. The clink and rattle of bottles, stools, cue balls, and buds, all pressed against its neon frame and woodwork warmth. He made his way to Larry, a Pollock from the south, and rapped his back, spiking his voice mid-speak. "Mickey, you dick, I told them never to let your ass back in here." "Well, that just goes to show you how much they care what you say," Mickey said, staggering his way through the crowd. Larry and some Dutch-looking beard sat laughing on shaking stools as the wiry one holds up 2 fingers. Understood, of course, by the 36-year-old cock tease he promised the moon to twice. Brenda, divorcee, moderate motorcycle enthusiast, Steelers fan. Everything a prick like this could want. She set 2 beers in front of him, same brand, one light and one not, then handed him a small shaker of salt from under the bar. He eyed her dryly for a moment while she faded slowly into a smile, to which he pulled out a 20 and set it on the bar. It was for her. She had to take it and learn not to argue. "Thank you, Mickey. That's what I come in here for." But somehow managed to say sweet after dozens of times. Mickey lightly tapped the salt into his beer, squinting through the wrinkles around his eyes. He looked old, certainly older than 48, which is what the math turned up. People had guessed 60, but then again, people had also spit out teeth. "So what do you say, Paris in a week?" he said, knowing the answer. Brenda smiled warmly again, formulating her next rejection. "Sure, Mickey, can I bring my husband?" "Hell, I don't care, I got a suitcase I should hold him." Brenda shook her head, only half concealing a smile. "Mickey, Mickey, Mickey, what am I going to do with you?" Walking off to tend to another thirsty patron before he could list off the great many ideas he had. The jukebox rang with the same tinny southern fried rock that he'd grown up with. The wandering solo entering its 2nd minute took him through a maze of memories. Cars, the women in them, hammer swinging and screw shooting on factory lines, and of course his current backdrop. The cars had broken down, the women had came but mostly went. Arthritis took his hammer, and the factory still stood vacant. None of it lasted but this, his loving din, the clank and rattle of bottles, stools, cue balls, and buds, all pressed against its neon frame and woodwork warmth. Mickey was a very lucky man. Thank you.
I like that.
This will be appearing in an upcoming issue of Gutter Eloquence. I'm not sure which one, but it's called Signs. The times are written all around us. The ends of grocery store aisles, which once held the modern-day wizardry irresistible to impulse, now hold the practicalities of modern survival. Peanut butter, soup, 12 packs of dehydrated noodles for $2. And behind the toothy smiles of the sales racks fleeting, a coin machine cashes in someone's long-saved peace of mind. With a modest sum, he'll walk past the newly slashed temptations, past the growing express lane of those with 10 items or less, and into the heat of a nation's shared drought, his rainy day fund, a mere raindrop on its surface. I don't see my wings yet. It's called A Matter of Time. Here you go, a checkerboard, a formula, a shaky means of approach. Here you go, a lamp of fine lace, another's delicate trust. Here you go, a pledge to make, a time saver, a miracle cure. Here you go, footage from the moon, mysteries resolved, flags planted in heavy sands. Here you go, a pampered ass and sudden look of surprise some years later. Here you go, a matchstick and a dare, a pathway nudge and ink-smeared map. Here you go, an echoing castle, a fortress of solitude, a simple matter of time. This one was about my great aunt who I spent a lot of time with when I was a little guy. Somehow I just kind of remembered all this. It's called Farfa because her name was Martha and that's what I called her. The cat would always hide anywhere it could, under one of the two beds or the polyester couch in the sunroom, only ever darting out the occasional paw or white-whiskered face to test her odds. Had grown up around too many kids, always tugging on tails, pulling ears, and chasing in thunderous hordes, rescued eventually by my great aunt to hide with her in old maid fashion, to share all they needed with nothing they wanted. Each birthday and Christmas, Aunt Martha opened various boxes and bags to the same theme, returning home to add the various cat trinkets to the seafoam walls surrounding. I don't remember petting the cat or any warm elderly hugs with my aunt. Pardon me. I remember the massive cat portrait on her shower curtain. It was fearless. It wasn't afraid to stare back or through me. I finally asked, "Farfa, why do you like cats so much?" She threw up an honest hand, saying, "Oh, I don't. People just keep buying that silly stuff for me." We smiled, sharing a secret, going back to hide the day away on polyester couches in the sunroom.